So the other day I was watching Top Gun again, and I was like, yeah, it's a pretty good movie. Sure, it chooses style over substance, and oh, man, Goose is dead. Okay, yeah, this death really bothered me. And I couldn't get over it because after I've watched Top Gun multiple times, it never really occurred to me how unnatural this death was. And it doesn't work mainly because of the tone of the film. Top Gun is a film filled with heart, fun, and tons of ridiculous 80s style. There's a whole sequence dedicated to Maverick and Goose fighting their rivals in volleyball that serves no purpose to the story whatsoever. The point I'm trying to make with the tone of this film is that a main character dying doesn't at all complement it. When Goose dies, it's a jarring shift in tone. What was just another flying sequence turns into a tragic incident in a matter of seconds with next to no build-up, which is a huge problem. If there was any sort of build-up or any sort of, smooth shift of tones, I would be fine, but that's just simply not the case. This makes the death feel misplaced and above all awkward. I couldn't help but be utterly baffled by this death the rest of the film. You can't have Maverick and Goose singing Great Balls of Fire in one scene and have Goose die in the next without any sort of transition. The film up to that point was devoid of anything heart-wrenching, and instead of there being such a smooth curve into the death, it happens with no indication that it's going to happen. And perhaps worse, in the next scene, Maverick is instructed to forget about his deceased partner. And while he gets depressed for a while, he rather quickly returns to flying, and the film goes back to its normal tone before Goose died. From Goose's death on, Top Gun's tone turns into an utter mess. I was at first disoriented when Goose died, and then just irked for the rest of the film when they dropped him altogether. You simply can't have one tone for the entirety of your film, abandon it for a death briefly, and then suddenly bring it back to the first tone without any effort placed into it. I was completely taken out of the film, and the thing is that it's an easy fix. Give some warning to the fact that Goose is going to die, or spend just a little more time on his death after so. Or don't make the death as tragic by not making him have a wife and child, two characters that aren't even shown grieving afterwards, once again showing how unaware the screenwriters were of this tonal shift. But let's ignore all of that because everyone remembers Goose's death as the thing that drives the movie, and nope, wrong, misconception, here's why. You may remember it as Maverick causing Goose's death due to his irrational and rash flight patterns, but that's not true at all. It only happens because Iceman can't get a lock on one of the, bogeys. So Maverick moves in. He doesn't do it particularly fast. He just goes in for the shot. And this is the problem. There's no indication that what Maverick is doing is his flaw. He just goes in like any other person would and gets caught in a jet stream. Goose dies because of an accident, not because of Maverick's greatest flaw. And that is the problem. Maverick's flaw is that his irrational actions could cause others he flies with their lives, but that doesn't translate into Goose's death at all. He was doing something any other pilot would do, and after Goose dies, Maverick's flaw is solved. He's no longer a rash person anymore. In fact, his choice to stop flying shows how mature he is now, and not the, flirt that he was at the beginning of the film with his love interest. He has finished his character arc. That's a problem. You need your arc to last the entire movie. And so when this happens, you're completely uninterested for the rest of the film. Now it's about getting his mojo back. Something that shouldn't even be gone in the first place. Not a single person at Top Gun ever accused Maverick of causing this death directly, but he still feels guilty. The simplest change here is to have Maverick cause Goose's death. That would resolve his arc, because now he would have to avenge Goose's death, avenge his problems by saving people in the final climax when he is up flying again. But that wouldn't work because it would be too dark to have Maverick responsible for his death, making the tone problem even worse. No matter which way you have Goose die, it either dramatically messes with the already inconsistent tone shifts or doesn't have Maverick's arc last the whole film, making the last act considerably less interesting. The only way to resolve the problem would be to have Maverick directly cause Goose to get injured and almost die, but be completely fine by the end of the film. That would smooth out the tonal shifts and make Maverick have to fix his flaw at the end of the film, making it feel full. But as it is, Goose's death just feels forced, unnecessary, and simply screws with the rest of the film. The point with this entire video is that not every film has to have a death. Why do you think Uncharted didn't kill any of its main characters, even in the final installment, which seemed to raise the stakes? Because it doesn't work with the tone. And the writers use other ways to further the plot and character arcs and still make it feel like there are stakes and actual consequences to Nathan Drake's actions. Killing off a character is not always the best course of action when trying to add consequences and drive the plot and the character. If it messes with the tone and you're not willing to fix the tonal shifts, if it ends character arcs preemptively, why bother? With that said, thank you guys so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.